Hi, welcome to my third video book review. I'm John Lee, and today I'll be talking about Pam Didner's book, Global Content Marketing. Pam Didner was another speaker at the Content Marketing Institute seminar a few months ago here in Las Vegas, and I wanted to check out her book because I feel like right now we're in a global expansion period for all forms of marketing and technology. And the world is just getting bigger and more connected, and relationships in different countries are really important, as we're seeing with some of this GDPR stuff that's going on with email marketing and some of the expansion into China. I just watched a really fascinating movie called The China Hustle, which is all about how American dollars flooded into China right after the global economy crisis in 2008, and how the Chinese companies were often taking advantage because it's not even illegal to defraud Americans as a Chinese corporation. So I recommend that book, or that movie rather. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a really interesting watch. I think it's in theaters too, called The China Hustle. But all of this got me thinking globally, which led me to read Global Content Marketing. Let's get to my 3 quick takeaways. Number 1, I really enjoyed Pam's 4 Ps, which were plan, produce, promote, and perfect. I think that's a really good bird's eye level view of the content creation process, especially as you're expanding to different markets and different countries. Really smart, especially the promote part, because while content is king, distribution is queen, and people forget to promote their stuff because they don't want to be self-promoters. I clearly do not have this problem, as I promote all my stuff all the time. Anyway, the second big takeaway was that I really like the way Pam used her case studies in her book. I haven't seen a lot of other books that consistently use case studies in the actual text. For most of the time when I see case studies, and I've produced case studies, they're kind of standalone PDFs or downloads, and you read them and they're not really framed in terms of the greater context of a book. So I really enjoyed that. I think that's a cool way to make sure that the reader gets information without kind of eyes glossing over and all that stuff. And number 3, and this is one of my weird kind of parallel things that I like to talk about, which is that the world is growing, people are getting more connected, but the world is also getting smaller, and I'll explain. So I work with an e-commerce client, and he does his fulfillment in China. So with one email, I can talk to a producer in China and get 50,000 bottles delivered to us here in Las Vegas. The world is small. On the other hand, the world is also really large because the same e-commerce supplier sells in a bunch of different countries, and that comes with its own challenges, right? It might be a $12 product here in the US, but it's a $4 product in Ethiopia based on currencies or whatever, because the world is big, and I think as American companies and as internet businesses, we get a tendency to be myopic and not really think about the big picture. And so it's important to remember that there is a whole other world out there, whole other languages. Translating your book into another language could be a whole new stream of income just by opening up a new global market. And I really like the idea and the way of thinking that was introduced in this book. So I give Pam Didner's book 4 out of 5 stars. It doesn't get the 4.5 or 5-star because and I understand with traditional publishing that this is a challenge. I did feel like towards the end, it got a little repetitive, not boring or anything, but I do feel like the points were made over and over and over again. And I understand that there's only so many ways to talk about expanding to different countries without individually examining each of 193 different countries, which is not plausible. So it wasn't boring or in any way redundant, but I just felt like we got a little repetitive towards the end, and that's what kept it from being a 5-star. But really enjoyed the book, definitely recommend it, especially if you're an e-commerce or internet business looking to expand into new marketplaces. That's gonna wrap it up for this week. Next week, I will be back with a review of the book Known, which is all about how to become well-known on the internet. You won't wanna miss that. Be sure to subscribe, recommend, share, all that fun stuff. And I will talk to you very soon.